What place is overrated to visit? Whatever expectation you have of Roswell, New Mexico, it's worse. Hollywood Walk of Fame. Haven't seen a dirtier road. Hollywood. I feel so bad for tourists in LA that waste their vacation time in that dirty hellhole. Plymouth Rock. The only boat small enough to have landed on it would be for ants. Mount Rushmore. Its face is on a rock basically and smaller than you think. Myrtle Beach SC. Just a giant tourist trap and full of boring county fair type stuff. Batu Caves in Kuala Lumpur. Asia is full of cast caves. Many are bigger and aren't full of tourists. Asshole macaques are also everywhere. The US side of the Niagara Falls are pretty underwhelming. It's like a little sideshow next to the gigantic horseshoe-shaped falls that are the Canada side. Brussels. If you're in Belgium, visit Ghent and Bruges. Blackpool, used to be a nice place but not anymore. Musical notes. Mona Lisa, you're an overrated piece of shit. Musical notes. Hollywood. The most disappointing garbage and piss-covered place on earth. If it's a super popular spot on Instagram, it's probably overrated. UAE, it's the most culturally deficient place you will ever see in your life. So now I know everywhere I want to visit is overrated. Oslo Fjorden. Please go anywhere else in Norway when you visit. The New York Stock Exchange. You can't actually go in and see the trading floor. That wing mural in Nashville. There is literally a line that takes an hour to go take a picture with a pair of wings on a wall. Japan has such a romanticized view of France that they actually have a term, Paris Syndrome, for the sudden shock suffered by Japanese tourists when they see that France isn't how they imagined. Times Square on New Year's. If you know, you know. Boardwalk in Monopoly. Can't wait until BuzzFeed gets a hold of this thread. Four Corners. It's hours away from anything notable and there isn't really anything to do there except to picture and buy Native American crafts. ITT, tourists that visit popular places and are disappointed when other tourists also want to visit popular places. If you're in Dublin, stay away from the Temple Bar area. It's ridiculously overpriced and is not at all what a real Irish bar is like at all. If you're ever in Berlin, do all the touristy stuff in one day. Go to the Reichstag and walk to the Brandenburger Tor, visit the Holocaust Memorial, then walk to the Alexanderplatz. There's not that much to see, but that city has so much more cool places to visit or to hang out. Especially if you're looking to meet people or not pay much for little value. Lake Laogai, like so honored to get invited by the Earth King, but, in my opinion, it was 4 stars not 5, the food was overcooked and bland and the pillow was stone hard and they had nothing softer. Like if invited I'd go again, I just won't go out of my way to get invited again. Dubai and Abu Dhabi. No salary could make me move there. Bondi Beach in Sydney. Overcrowded, everything there is way overpriced. Pisa. Besides the small square with the tower where everyone is taking the same shitty joke pic, and guys trying to sell you toys. The rest of the town is pretty shit. You're in Tuscany, go to any small town and you'll enjoy it far more. Dubai. Mall of America. It's just a mall with a lot of stuff in it. My opinion would have probably be different if I didn't live in Minnesota. Definitely Mallorca. I'm German enough, I don't want to hear 90% German on holiday in Spain as well. The quieter, less central parts of Mallorca are gorgeous, especially for snorkeling and diving, but the Playa de Palma, or at least that part, is horrendously German lol. The Mona Lisa in Louvre in Paris. It's just a small painting hanging quite far away in a really crowded room full of tourists. Don't get me wrong, it's a beautiful, iconic painting, but it's not worth visiting the Louvre only for the Mona Lisa. The majority of the other artworks in that museum are more impressive than the Mona Lisa. I live in Vancouver, Canada, and there is a place called Capilano Suspension Bridge. It sounds good but is overpriced and loaded with people. Edit, I'm trying to say that the place is great but not when there is so many people. A good alternative, that people agree with, is Lynn Canyon, which has less people and is free. Bali. It was beautiful 10 years ago but now it's been ruined by influencers. Area 51. Times Square for sure. Although it's cool to see all the lights, it's honestly just glorified ads everywhere you look. There's nothing really special about Times Square. Lots of people, chain restaurants, subpar quality food, lots of homeless people on the streets, and random people trying to sell you stuff as you walk by. The Corn Palace in South Dakota. Every single billboard for miles kept advertising it, and it was so built up that eventually I had to make a detour on my road trip to visit it. How could I skip over a giant castle made of corn? No. It is a cheesy, tiny museum that is not made of corn at all. The original Starbucks store in Seattle. It's a recreation and the actual location is a few doors down. The design and decor doesn't really stand out. They serve Starbucks coffee there. Large queue to get in and standing room only. Take selfies in front, order, buy some souvenirs and cheat pho. The store interior is just a queuing place. At least it's in a decent tourist area and it's low effort though. Also please don't put your bags down by the light fixture in front of the store, my dog manages to pee there sometimes. South Beach / Miami. Overpriced bars and clubs. If you're a dude and you don't have a fine group of women with you, be ready to drop serious cash for a night out if you're there. There are better beaches up and down the coast that won't force you into the terrible traffic and parking SB has. Really only worth it when you have to pay respects to D-Wade the God. After reading most of the comments, I came to the conclusion that people ruin those places, not places themselves. ITT, everywhere. The Sears Tower, or as it's officially known, the Willis Tower. I live in Chicago and I refuse to take people there. If you want to have a nice view of the city, it's way better to go to the signature room at the top of Hancock Building. The view is just as great and few can enjoy a drink while you're at it. Anyone said Niagara Falls yet? Hear me out on this one. The falls themselves are beautiful, and I guess if you're really into the history of a waterfall and its surroundings you can spend half a day there. But once you've seen it, you've got nothing. The Canadian side is a discount Vegas, which Vegas in itself has been listed like 18 times in this thread. The US side is slummy as Buffalo. Make Niagara a pit stop, not the destination. The Taj Mahal. Yes, it's beautiful but it's also overcrowded, which ruins any serenity, and everything that there's to see is visible on the pictures you've seen 1,000 times before. The inside is dark, surprisingly small, and you're rushed through. Agra Fort, overlooking the Taj Mahal, by contrast is equally gorgeous, vibrant and teeming with history. I enjoyed it much more. Edit to say that of course I'm not suggesting you should go to Agra and skip the Taj Mahal. That would be ridiculous. It's still neat to see. But keep your expectations in check, plan for hectic crowds, and there are other sights that are equally if not more impressive. Bourbon Street, New Orleans. It's really just the same as any other bar district in any other large city around the world. Same old cover bands playing the same old songs that you'd hear anywhere. You can experience all you need just by walking down the street for an hour and not going in anywhere. Frenchman Street on the other hand is absolutely amazing. Everyone should go to NOLA just for that. Edit, I'm not knocking NOLA itself though, that city is amazing and definitely somewhere I'm going to return to next time I return to the USA on holiday. Branson, Missouri. It's crowded, overpriced, and most of the country music shows are imposters. And Silver Dollar City is cute and rustic but not worth the money. Go to Shepherd of the Hills for the overlook because it's beautiful, but then head south to Eureka Springs for a much more gorgeous spot with more of an authentic rustic vibe. The Space Needle. In Seattle, there are great tourist attractions. Pike Place is totally worth it, Post Alley is quaint, and the pier is fun on a nice day. However, I don't think going up into the Space Needle is worth it anymore. I haven't been up since it's been remodeled, but that's because it's so expensive now. You can get a much better view of the city from the old Columbia Tower for free. Also, Seattle Center is kinda icky now, though they are trying to perk it up. But there are things to do around there like the Mopop Museum. If you come to Seattle for a few days, I recommend going to Ballard or Fremont or Green Lake. These are my favorite gems. Egypt, all the beauty and awe of the ancient civilization is completely outshone by how absolutely horrible and shitty the modern civilization is. Think of all the worst parts of India and then add sand to it. Porto, Portugal. It's not overrated, I'm just tired of bumping into tourists every day going to work. The Seven Wonders of the Earth, Venice, anywhere that's being destroyed by tourism. The hot dog stand in Reykjavik, Iceland. Before I went, the people who'd been before me made it sound like the greatest restaurant ever. I went and thought it was just overpriced hot dogs. I think maybe it's a relief for people tired of paying so much for food, tired of trying different foods, or tired of both. Honolulu, Hawaii. It's just a huge and overpriced tourist trap. Sure, it's pretty and obviously it's Hawaii, so great vacation spot, right? Do yourself a favor and go to a different spot like Maui or even Hawaii, Pi. But, Honolulu is kind of overrated emo. Egyptian pyramids and Sphinx. We went to family who live there, no facilities for staff, so you're in all over the bottom layer of the pyramid, rubbish everywhere, kids, upsetting to see them working, trying to sell you things, men constantly trying to hand you gifts hoping you'll accept and tip them. You can't go in to see any tombs unless you're a man because any women get trapped inside by little gangs of men wanting them to pay to get out. We spent the entire time, literally every 3 minutes, shooing grown men away from us, holding on to our bags. Felt very unsafe and it wasn't nice to feel like you have to shoo people as it's not the way we treat people usually. Stonehenge. They don't let you get very close to it to help preserve it. Either way, you get just about as good a view of it from the highway going by it as you do by waiting in line and paying to go see it. I appreciate what it represents, but if you put on a YouTube video of it you will get a more personal and close experience of it than if you actually go there. New Zealand. Don't come here. If there's one majorly overrated place, it's got to be the moon. God, it's boring there. Also anywhere else farther than 200 miles outside of Earth tbh. Rainbow Mountains in Peru. Colors are just not like on Instagram, so all you experience is the smell of donkey feces and the sound of disappointment of hundreds of fat tourists carried up by the donkeys. Tombstone, Arizona. It's a tourist trap unlike any I've been forced to go to. XGF's mom came to visit us in Az and wanted to take a day trip out to see the ghost town with a deep history. The history of the town was very interesting, but all the original structures had been painted over and refurbished into cheesy gift shops, and whatever heritage was left was destroyed by tourists. It's a 2-block-long strip of advertisements in the middle of the desert. One of the 10 locals in the town asked my GF what her pee tasted like, and then told her not to worry that there wasn't any cops in their town. He said this in front of about 20 tourists and her mother. No one reacted because this creepy dude was open carrying 2 side-strapped revolvers and had a literal machete on his back. Deep desert towns can be weird AF. Felt like the town in the hills have eyes. Kind of specific, but I visited the gold and silver pawn shop from the show Pawn Stars when I was in Las Vegas a couple weeks ago. Holy shit, that place is tiny. Mad props to the production crew that films inside there, because I always imagined it was big and open. It's basically a single aisle from the door to the back of the store with a little side area where the registers and offices are. I went out of my way to see it, expecting to spend at least an hour looking around. After being inside for 5 minutes, I saw pretty much everything and left quite disappointed. The Four Corners, New Mexico, Colorado, Utah, Arizona. Earth. As a tour guide in Paris, here's my time to shine and help you save time and money. Avoid Paris in June and July, August. September is best, May comes in second. Always book your skip the line tickets online before going to a landmark. Nothing in Paris is worth waiting 3 hours in line. Instead, go drink some wine and eat some cheese plus baguette in a nice park or by the river. Toyosu Fish Market. The one that replaced Tsukiji as the fish auction central of Tokyo in 2018. You get to watch the auction process, but only if you go early in the morning. And even then, only through small glass windows 2 stories above the auction block. If there are more than a couple dozen other visitors, you will not be able to see anything. Plymouth Rock. It's just a rock. It's not even a big rock, or a weird-looking rock, it's just a greyish lump the size of a beanbag chair with 1,620 carved on it. I didn't pay anything to look at it and it still was a rip-off. There's a nice pizza place nearby though. The Little Mermaid statue in Copenhagen. It's just so May. And too far away from the city center, especially if it's freezing outside like the time I visited it. Just get a souvenir or a postcard or something. Copenhagen itself is beautiful though, very highly recommended. Someone will think everywhere is overrated. If you check the travel sub and say you're going to a European capital city, it's overrated and you need to go to the countryside. If you're going to the countryside and skipping the capital city, you are missing out because it's a gem. Go where you want. Read up on it so you have reasonable expectations of what you will see though.